Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi everybody, we're going live. Welcome to Let Love Live. Hope you can hear me okay. We'll be turning the volume up. Thank you. We'll see who is using technology is following me. I hope everybody will be able to hear me okay. Let's see who can hear me out there. I'm excited to have my greeting. Looking forward to connecting with everyone that's coming to visit with Let Love Live. So, gonna get started in just a moment here. We have a nice setup. I would like to start by thanking my good friend Regina Parkinson for letting us use her gallery, Kindred Studios and Events. So if you're in the Galveston, Texas area and you're looking for some great art, feel free to stop by Regina's place. There are local artists here, right here in Galveston. And so I will be talking about my love for Galveston and just sharing a bit more about the release of my new book. So come on in, everyone, grab a seat. I'll be going live on Facebook, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Yes. Cheers, cheers. Yes, we will have a formal toast later tonight. I have cake, and I'm always excited to have my cake and cupcakes. So, so everybody, please come on in and be getting started. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about as we mix and mingle, we do have refreshments. This just happens to be my birthday week. Thank you. So there's a lot to
Eddie's birthday week too.
Yes, he told me. Yeah. And so I have been always celebrating my birthday the whole month. So this is just a great start. So much to celebrate, so much to be thankful for with this book signing and the launch of Volume 2. And so one of the things that I like to do before I can talk about Volume 1, I have to share about, or before I can talk about Volume 2, I have to go back to the beginning. And so I first published Let Love Live, a collection of love poetry about relationships back in 2011. And initially I thought I would be able to do a book each year. I was just thought I would be that ambitious, but things happen in life, and when I started working on Volume 2, I realized that this first book was about relationships, crushes, heartache, heartbreak, real love. So if you're crushing on someone, Volume 1 might be for you. If you're mad, Volume 1 definitely can help you with that. But if you're already gone and you're ready to heal and renew and do the work, this is what Volume 2 is about. So I started writing this collection, and initially I was thinking, as I was reading the poems, and I had my aunt doing some edits, and she said that, and so I asked her, so what do you think about the book? And she said, it's just so sad, it's just so sad. And I said, well, just keep reading, keep reading. So this book does talk about despair. It talks about not giving up and getting to resilience. So I'm just so thankful for that. And as we continue to come in and get started, hopefully everyone can hear me on Facebook Live. I'd like to welcome everyone as we get started coming in. And so my style, I'm very laid back and relaxed, and I have a huge samplings of excerpts of the poems that I've written. So if you have a chance to, get up and you can read about that. And I like to be very organic. I like to really connect with the people that take the time to come out to and helping them to reach their goals, both personally and professionally. So I am a personal and executive life coach, as well as an entrepreneur. I've been in business now for almost 20 years, and just stepping out and taking a chance on my goals. It wasn't easy. I actually had to be pushed out of my role, but sometimes we need that push in order to pivot and do the things that we need to do for ourselves. And sometimes getting to our goals is not a sweet, rosy lesson. Sometimes it's that plank between the eyes. It's painful. We have to learn and grow and get miserable enough to want to change. And so I talk a little bit about that. And with this book, I lost both of my parents in 2014, as well as a dear Aunt Daisy. So as you get the book tonight, and I look forward to connecting with each of you and personally signing the book for you. But I wanted to dedicate this book to my mother, Mildred, and my Aunt Daisy, because they really taught me resilience, even in their last days. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity. You'll get to read about them. They're very strong women. And I had to pull and remember what I came from and stop. And also, you know, one of the things that growing up, I didn't know how to use my voice. I didn't like conflict. I didn't know how to handle anger. So for a lot of years, I had a victim mindset. I was a doormat to others. And I thank God for my healing. And for me, I had to really dig deep and find out what was important to me and learn about loving myself. So this book is about my transition to self-love. And I want it to be an example to encourage others to do the work, and get the support, and get to heal and to not give up, because we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. So this is one of the things that I'd like to do, to talk a little bit about my Aunt Daisy before I got started, because she really had an effect on my life. Both of my parents were quite sick at the same time, and they passed less than 60 days apart. And so my Aunt Daisy called to give her condolences regarding the loss of my dad, and knew that Mom was very ill. So I had no idea she was that ill as well. But she would call me and she would pray with me and encourage my spirit. And I'm thankful for that opportunity, because I got to see what resilience looked like. And even though I later found out that she had terminal cancer in a very short time to live, she never focused on death. She always talked about life. And so that was one of the lessons. She was also an ordained minister. And when I first shared my first book, Let Love Live, she said, you know, baby, I love your book because I love you. She said, but where are your poems about God? And I said, well, God is love. And I never felt it was my role to try to convert others. And I never really shared my personal value system. And so I had to learn it's okay to believe what I believe. And I spent so much time trying to be inclusive and flexible, not wanting anyone to feel rejected, because I knew how that felt. Not wanting to have anyone left out, but I ended up finding myself to be miserable because I was so flexible that I was becoming wishy-washy. So what I had to learn that it's okay to believe what I believe, it's okay to believe what you believe, and so this book is just me sharing that story. And so for tonight, I dedicate the book for Aunt Daisy, because I do have some verses and scriptures that help me to stand on and get stronger when, you know, I didn't believe in myself. So I want to encourage everyone, you know, to do the work and whatever it is that you need to do to not give up and to stay encouraged. And I do feel that my role in life, or my purpose, is to encourage the hearts of others. so respectful to what others believed and using their voice, and I would, listen to anybody's opinion, but I didn't have my own. So I'm just learning to tell my story and practicing with you tonight and others. And I know that this book is for anyone that's ever struggled with low self-esteem and self-love and just been discouraged in life. So I want you to, do the work, learn to love yourself, and, I just want to encourage you and let you know that you're worth it. I'm worth it, you're worth it. And one of the things that I always like to do is just to start with the first chapter. You'll see that there are 8 chapters in the book. But the first chapter, there was a lot of raw emotional pain. And I didn't realize that I had really numbed myself out for a lot of years. Sometimes life gets so hectic that you just don't want to deal with certain things or self-medicate or whatever we have to do to get through the day-to-day. And the world that we're in right now is very challenging. But I've decided personally to choose love. And so that's why I'm wanting to let love live. So the first poem that I'll read to you is called Let Love Live Too. I'm allowed to let love live too. And I always forget my reading glasses for this new birthday. For some reason I'm required to get some reading glasses. So Lenora, would you mind getting my reading glasses out of my purse over there while I find my first one? But thank you so much for coming out. I know it's hard to find a parking spot. There are so many things that you could be doing. I will also share a poem that I've written about Galveston. My family will tell you I'm fanatical about Galveston, and I'm just in love with Galveston. And so I wrote a love letter to Galveston, a couple, and that I'll be sharing in closing. So thank you so much. My sister-in-law, Lenora, thank you. And we can check in with Facebook Live. I hope they can hear me and see me, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So when I first wrote Let Love Live, I was, very excited. My purpose was to love, and, I was thinking, when I first started trying to read poetry, I was like, I need to have a cute name and, get up there and read like the other artists. But again, it's about being authentic, and I realized that I like to read. I'm not a performer. I really admire that others that can get up there. And initially, in the beginning, I wanted to get Mendashi and call myself Love and get up here. But at least I have my campus. And so I'll start with my vow to let love live too. Ever since I took that vow to let love live, everything has popped off and life has been all uphill. Bitterness and resentment started to kick in, and today's climate, I was at my wit's end. Responsibility and being a good person became a bad word. My spirit has been so loud and chaotic that I could not hear God's word. I thought that I could inspire others with inspiration and guidance, but my spirit became filled with unforgiveness and defiance. I had to take some time to reflect on what letting love live really meant. I can say that my time in reflection has been well spent. Love has not changed, and it's still a verb in action. I will let love live too, and not give haters the satisfaction. So I'm back on my grind and letting my light shine, continuing to encourage the hearts of others and to myself be kind. So this is my vow to let love live too. It helped me to get to the next chapter. And so the first chapter, I'll read the introduction. It's called In Wake of New Emotions. Sometimes emotions can be so raw and painful that you just shut down and numb yourself to all emotions, both good and bad. For me, I chose to do the work and experience all of the emotions that became too much. I had to be open to feel again and to keep moving. So I encourage each of us to trust the process. And so the first poem in chapter 1 is called Open. And before I read, I just want to check in. Can you hear me okay? Is it too loud?
I think it just went off.
Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Did I turn it on? We can hear you. Okay, all right. So I'm going to keep going. Y'all let me know. And that's the thing that I wanted to do, book signings. I wanted to do in-person readings because I wanted to connect with others. And as I share my story through my poetry, you'll see that some of the poems that I've kind of been in my cave, I had to, shut it down and really do the work. So this first poem is called Open. My senses are open again. I feel so alive and renewed. Emotions are light and thoughts no longer skewed towards negativity and limitations from the past. A new dawn has come, and I want this feeling to last. Even my sense of smell is sharper, and I can finally hear my innermost thoughts and the sound of love ringing in my ear. I'm aware of my body and the woman that I have become. The taste is so sweet, I recommend whatever this is that you have some. I can see clearly now, and even though it was always a long vision, I am no longer waffling, but very confident with every decision open. And so it was important once I went through my times of grief and despair and depression. When you have those dark times and things that happen in your life, it seems like you're in the storm for so long. And it feels good when the storm lifts and the sun comes out and it's a cool breeze and you can get to the water. Well, for me, that's what it was like as I started to do the work and finally started to learn to be true to myself. But in doing the work, I had to get through the process. And so this next poem I'd like to share with you is called The Morning I Woke Up to Tears. This morning I woke up to tears. The bow finally broke from the pressure over the years. You see, from the pain I was totally numb, and now with all the pressure I finally succumb. I've been waiting for my breakthrough. From all the hard work, I thought it had been long overdue. I've been praying and agreeing and seeking the desires of my heart, but nothing has happened yet, and no one can say I haven't done my part. For as long as I can remember, I had my hustle on. Now it seems like the years and the time, I don't know where it's gone. The tears are definitely sadness, but I must say that there's a lot of anger inside. I am now so disillusioned that the disappointment I can no longer hide. I used positive self-talk and mantras, but it was all BS. I am truly buckling under the stress. People ask me, girl, where's your faith? Have you lost all belief? No, but it's been overshadowed with heartache and grief. Yes, after years, the tears finally came, and I won't look at my dreams or people ever the same. I know I can't give up, so I'm just going to have my moment and let the tears flow. I hope to find joy and strength again. It's just been hard to let it all go. How many of us have been there? Life just had us on the ropes, and it was okay to express how we were truly feeling. And I know for me, a lot of times, I was raised to be very strong. And as I've shared, I'm the oldest daughter of 7 children. My mother was the oldest daughter, her mother was the oldest, and so I was really more of a mom-daughter. And I had to take on a lot of responsibility of the family and had to be strong and, be a big girl, as they say, put your big girl panties on, whatever. And so I had to learn that it's okay to ask for support, to take the time to find what you need, to get off the wheel and really get in touch with yourself. And so this next poem that I'd like to share is called Permission. And so it goes, I am giving myself permission to release and let it all go, to not feel guilt when I have to say no. Yes, I'm setting my own pace and not being afraid to stop and turn around, to remember self-love when facing defeat, when life has me down. I'm giving myself permission to keep going after I take a fall, to know my destiny is not to give up and to always stand tall. I am giving myself permission to roll with the punches and to know when to retreat. Though I struggle from day to day, just believe that I will manage to land on my feet. I give myself permission to surrender when the struggle becomes too great. To know, despite setbacks, for my dreams is not too late. I give myself permission to laugh, dance, and keep moving no matter the length of the storm. To feel the pain, the grief, the depression, but to not let the raw emotional pain be my norm. I give myself permission to not feel the need to apologize when others do not agree. I am so thankful to see another year and to let my spirit fly free. I give myself permission to experience love and happiness even in a broken place, to find the energy to keep going when heartache stares me in my face. I give myself permission. And so how many of you had to give yourself permission to start over, to regroup? Yeah. So I know I'm not the only one, and I just want to encourage you. I want to talk a little bit about chapter 3, and yes, please grab a seat. And I call chapter 3 for the people I love. And in the last few years, I was looking at how many celebrations of life I had to write. And it's just losing so many people in my own family. And grief affects people differently. But for me, when I lost my brother, who was 37, to COVID in 2020, I found myself very, very angry. And I didn't understand why. And I had to really do the work, but it took me a moment, and I felt like, his life had been taken from me. And so when you get the book, you'll get to read about a lot of these celebrations of life that I've written, and about my brother, my mother, my dad, and other people that I've loved and lost, and as well as people that are still alive and on the journey with me. But I'd like to read an excerpt about my brother Marky. His name was Jamarcus, but we called him Marky for short. Both Jamarcus, Marky, and baby brother Brian, for my parents were a huge surprise. How Marky's heart and personality would touch the lives of others we didn't realize. He was the sweetest baby, such a happy child with the juiciest cheeks and the largest grin. Marky was so lovable in every way that it's hard to begin. He was a clean little boy that didn't like to be outside or get dirt on his feet. Like the whole family, he enjoyed his food and loved to eat. Marky was the fourth child of 7 children and had extra parents straight out the gate. Being loved by everyone and having a happy childhood was his fate. He and baby brother Brian were inseparable, and they played together well. They did everything together, playing games like Dodge the Rock. Oh, the stories I could tell. Marky was always a chubby guy, but could really dance and was very light on his feet. He would even bust a move and sing when he had his favorite food to eat. Marky had lots of friends while in high school, then left to attend Auburn University in Montgomery, where he earned a bachelor's degree. He started working at Compass Bank and became serious with Gail, his wife-to-be. He became a father in 2006, and it really changed his life. His family was complete when he took Gail Rutledge as his wife. He loved his family and wanted only the best for them. Gail and Marcellus were a source of pride for him. Marky loved to dress in bright colors, gold stripes, and he was very comfortable in his own skin. He would often dress he and his son in matching outfits. Marcellus was his twin. And so with Marky, it was really hard to write about him. But I thank God for my healing and to release and to know that he's in a better place and that we have a beautiful nephew that is so much like him. So we know that there's a piece of him still with us. And so many times we lose the people that we love, and we have to know that that's a part of life. And I was just telling someone this month that I'm okay with death. It's living is what I struggle with some days. And not only just surviving, but I want to thrive in this life. And I want to see others to live and heal and encourage the hearts of others where they can not only survive, but feel that they're thriving and find some joy in the time that we have. No one knows how long we'll be here. And so I had to learn that. And I'm so thankful that I've had an opportunity to experience love. And there is some points that I have here, and I won't read them all, but one of the things that I'd like to talk about is a good friend. Because when you go through things, it's important to have support. It's important to have someone that will know that you won't always have it together. I mean, before I unlocked that door, I had people in here working, pulling up chairs, tying ribbons, and it's beautiful. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. And thank you for anyone that has ever showed up for me. And I know I can't always reciprocate, but I've had some good friends in this life. And there's one poem on page 101 called A Good Friend. Sometimes in life you meet someone that have long-term effects on your life. You've shared my good times and much of my strife. I admire your humbleness. I know it will take you far. I have called on you so many times, often in tears. I've shared my aspiration and even my fears. Your advice has helped me to make it through the day. You always seem to know just what to say. There were days when I was down, when I would look up and there you would be. Whenever I need you, you always find the time for me. I appreciate you, and I think you are one of a kind. You genuinely care about others, and when helping out, you really don't mind. Thank you. My gratitude I just can't explain. Having a good friend helped ease my pain. So I hope each of us have someone that we can call friend. That's great. And another thing about the book, I always wanted to allow you the space to journal and capture your thoughts as they come up. So many times when you're feeling raw emotional pain or you're not used to hearing your own voice, you don't always take the opportunity to just sit in that moment to feel what you're feeling. And so I'm excited about the reflection pages at each chapter where you can write, what came up after hearing that poem. And so one of the other chapters that I'll get into, it just talks about, coming to myself and coming out of depression and despair in dark times. And so this next poem is called Awake. I am finally awake, taking the steps I needed to take, got what I needed to heal. Now all 5 senses my body can feel. Even my food tastes better and I'm really living. My heart is open, I am receiving, sharing, and giving. All of me is showing up in every way, facing all of my fears every day, continuing to do the work, getting past depression and grief. My faith has helped my unbelief. I've cracked the surface into my future and forgave my past. This time, I know my joy will last. because it's not based on shallow visions, people in my life, and results of any situation. I'm accepting responsibility for my life and any complication. I can laugh at myself and be the butt of any joke because I know who I am and how to stay woke. And so how many of us have had that season? And it feels so good. But in the journeys of life, sometimes it's hard to smile, sometimes it's hard to keep going. And I can remember having those ebbs and flows of just challenges and disappointments in life, and realizing one day waking up, it's like, I feel good, there's no pain. How many of us, there are so many people that I know, they wake up and they're in constant pain every day. And pain can really make you depressed, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so I just remember, it's like, wow, I feel good, I'm thankful. And that was another thing, to get to grow, I had to learn to accept myself and stand on the promises of God, of what God said about me, even when I didn't believe it myself. And so one day, I realized, wow, I feel good. And so I wrote this poem called The Smile Series. It says, I'm writing again, and it feels so good. This smile has been a long time coming and much anticipated. Because of the emotional pain, I often hesitated to open my heart and to share my grin, to hold back on joy, because I desperately needed a win. To know that things will be okay no matter what I face. To let go of things that no longer serve me and the empty dreams that I chase. Today I want to go with the flow, love and release. No more holding back, trying to keep the peace. I feel so good to finally exhale, to end the chapter of the living hell. So thankful just to be here to breathe and not feel labored. I've learned to enjoy all the rain in my life because they sometimes brought rainbows that I've savored. To have love, shown love, and not been afraid, even if heartbreak was the price I paid. To find joy when it comes, and as often as I can. To be a good citizen and the best and finest woman. Thank you for the dream, so big it's hard to believe. But to keep going, knowing the many things I can achieve, the Smile Series. And so you'll find in the book that, yes, chapter 1 is sad. My aunt was right. It was so sad. As a matter of fact, there's a poem in there called, I'm Just Sad, y'all. I won't read that one tonight. But you'll also find some encouragement along your path as I share my story. I know I'm not the only one that struggled with these things and getting to self-love and improving esteem. And so, as I write, I try to be honest with myself. And so one of the things that I struggle with is what to do with my hair. And I know I'm not the only lady in here. That, to dye or not to dye. To wear wigs, not to wear wigs. So this next poem I want to share with you is called, I Had to Take Off My Hat. Now some people, women, they call their wigs boyfriends, grandma, hats. So for me, I call my wigs my hat. So this poem is called, I Had to Take Off My Hat. I have been struggling with what to do about my hair. It has taken much thought, and I've tried to handle it with care. You see, I am in conflict about how to style my hair, and if I should show it at all. I am so thankful to have it, and that I'm not bald. You see, the conflict evokes emotion about my hair. I do not feel great. Questions I ask myself daily. Should I dye it? Should I wear it curly or straight? The wigs and the braids keep me content for a while, but then I grow weary and feel that because I cover my hair with something I keep on the shelf, that adding accessories to my head prevents me from being my authentic true self. It becomes one more layer that I have to add to my weekly persona. I want to wear my natural hair, but can't get it to do what I want. I admit I do not know what to do with it. Should I go to the salon and for hours in a chair I sit? Why do I overthink this thing when frustrated and want to cut it all off and start again? And is cutting my glory really a sin? I do not want to mistreat my hair, and I want to care for it as I ought. Sometimes for weeks I can get by without a consuming thought about my hair. I feel judged, and I even point fingers at myself about my hair, just what I should do. I know it's not just me. I hear others talking about it too. I feel self-conscious and not professional when I leave my natural hair down and pick it out. I can only imagine how deep in my psyche that my reasons why are all about. So I wash it, condition it, tie it down, and cover it with this or that. But today I felt prepared when I had to take off my wig. So I try to be authentic, right? You know, this is a conversation where, you know, even in our own community, we struggle. If you're wearing wigs or if you're dyeing your hair, and I can remember when I first noticed a gray in my hair, I was driving, and I almost ran off the road. I was trying to pluck that gray. So I had to get to acceptance with aging. I decided I want to live. I don't want to get old. So I realized that, and you'll read about some poems that I've written, volume 10, 54, you know, where I talk about my chronological age. But my family know that I've been the new 28 for a few years now. So if you ask me, you know, I'm the new 20, not that old 28. But those are things that are a part of our lives as we grow, and there's so many societal pressures of what we should do and how we should, you know, treat ourselves. And I know for me, it's been hard to figure it out, but a part of it is being true to myself and taking the time to figure out what works for me. And so that's what I've been able to do. And you'll find some poems there that just kind of, you can see that I'm pondering, that I don't have all the answers, that I'm still trying to figure it out, like so many of us are. And we need to have a safe place for that. And I realized that for me, I wasn't giving myself that same grace that I would give to people in the elevator. I was nicer to strangers than I was to myself. And just the mental self-talk, oh my goodness, you know, no one could talk about me, to me, worse than me. And so again, I know I'm not the only one. But as I continue to grow and learn on my journey, you know, I want to help others and to encourage others. And so the next point that I'd like to share is called, Today Was It. And so tomorrow's not promised. You know, we all have seasons where we have to leave this body. And so I was thinking, what if today was the last day, you know, that I had for life? And so I wrote, what if today was it, that this day was all that we get? How would you use this time? What is the first thing that comes to mind? Would you have more patience or even more time? What about your things to do list? What would you do if you knew this was the last day for you? Who would you want to spend your day with? And what would you say? Would the regrets overwhelm the rest of your day? Would you laugh, run, and play? Those deep thoughts we have pondered. Would you find the courage to finally share? Would you make sure those that you love, you know how much you care, if today was it? And so, how many of us think about that? Sometimes we just feel like, you know, we have forever, but life is really short, and you never know when is your last time. So, a part of my writing this book was one, to show myself love, but also to encourage others and to let love live. I want to continue to let love live. And so I told you how much I love Galveston, and it is a problem that my love for Galveston, when I get to the water, it's just really amazing for me. And so I wrote this poem. I'll skip around tonight. When I first started to do the book signings, I wanted to get my PowerPoint presentation. I wanted to be professional. And for my first book signing, I had this presentation together, but technology did not cooperate. And I found, wow, I just have to speak from my heart, And that's what I'm learning to do, so this is practice for me. But coming to Galveston, discovering it, I lived in Houston a lot of years, but I didn't get near the water. I didn't know how to swim, but stress led me to the water. And so I discovered Galveston. And I would come here and I noticed all the stress, the tightness in my shoulder. I get to the water and it just melts away. What was it about the water? And there's this sports basketball player and commentator named Charles Barkley. And I don't know if any of you heard that, but he, said some bad things about Galveston and called the water ugly. And I was thinking, you better back off of my Galveston. I love my Galveston. And so I thought, okay, how can I be creative to express this? And so I was thinking, well, what if I treated Galveston like a man, a male, a companion? So the name of this poem is called A Love Letter to My Galveston. Galveston, my confidant, my refuge. I have found a place and somewhere where I can be myself and fully release. He accepts me just as I am, no judgment, only peace. I often show up exhausted and drained. His winds and fresh air eases my pain. My thoughts rush to me and I can hear them clearly as I put footprints in his sand. He caresses my soul, and with him I can go for activities or not have a plan. He lets me take his seashells and feel the waves of his ocean. He calms me down and takes me away from all of the worldly commotion. After my walk, then I always stop by Goodwill. He knows where I go each time to get a cheap thrill. When I'm hungry, he feeds me and allows me to shop. All my fears, stress, and worry, he lets me drop. He's not selfish with my time, and he lets me come and go as I please. The love and kindness he provides me, I always feel his warmth, no matter the degrees. With him, time seems to stop while watching sunsets or the rising moon takes my breath away. I leave him each time renewed, no matter how long I stay. Whenever I return, he never disappoints and makes me feel right at home. Things have gotten so serious that to be close to him, I bought my own place. I rent it out when I'm not there, and I really enjoy the space. He builds my confidence, and with him, I never feel alone. To others, Galveston, Texas is not a big deal, but for me, he's huge. I will be forever in love and devoted to my Galveston, my confidant, my refuge. So that was one of the poems that I wrote, and people were, my daughter was like, oh, that's a little weird. I know, I'm weird. And that's the great part about coming to Galveston too. I feel like I finally found my tribe. It's very laid back, and the people here are very accepting. And I can be, my own weirdo self, and it works. And whether it works or not, I'm learning to be so authentic with myself. And so one of the things that I set out, I wanted to create an experience for the people that would come out and get dressed and find a parking spot and come in here to spend some time with me. So I have my candles and I have my crown. There's a poem that I'll read next. It's called Fix My Crown. And, crown, some people, you hear the word crown, and what royalty. What else? Yes. And crown is also, it can be your hair. And for me, it was symbolic of mindset. And so one of the things that I had to work on was, I was the coach that needed coaching. I would encourage the hearts of others and help them reach their goals, but I found that I really didn't believe. And some of the things that I'd allowed in my spirit didn't really serve me any longer. And so that was a part of, doing the work and self-reflection and getting quiet to do those things. And so about 3 years ago, I actually wrote this poem called Fix My Crown. And I'm going to find it for us. So I've been skipping around. And so I want to find that poem, and I'd like to share that next. And, part of my wanting to connect with others is like, about 5 years before the pandemic hit, I taught at Houston Community College. And I taught at the university because I wanted to give back, I wanted to connect with others. But I found that teaching, it's not like having conversations. I'm supposed to be lecturing, not just chatting with the students. So it was very hard in between. But I was thankful, and I wanted to be able to give back and to help others with school and to encourage them. And so what I found in teaching is that I'm really great with the babies, and I'm really great with adults. It's the high schoolers that that gave me pause. And so one of the things that I've learned is, you just have to be who you are and how God made you. And I can remember working in corporate, and it was struggle, the competition on every floor, and that was one of the things that caused me to start searching, and I felt that my spirit was telling me that I should be doing more. But sometimes we're afraid. Sometimes it's hard for us to get out of our comfort zone. And so I wrote this poem called A Blank Slate, and I will share that. But the poem Fix My Crown is what I'll read next, and it just talks about really getting your mindset right. And so this next poem is called Fix My Crown. I've been working on me, which is a long-term assignment that has included love and war. I've been pulling from all of my resources that I've gathered along the journey thus far. The struggle has been real, and each day has come with some type of lesson. Most days flew by, and I was oblivious that I was in another session. I look back at the decades that were days that I could not wait to end. I took my bumps and losses, but vowed to try again. The idea of each day to have another chance did not go over my head. A life of memories flashed before me, and I stand by every word I said. The nights that I could not sleep because my mind was filled with worry and fret, enjoying the special moments and facing experiences I wanted to forget. Thankful for the others that have joined me for the ride. I appreciate everyone that showed me love and remained by my side. I am on a trajectory to keep moving forward and to not let myself down. Following my mindset is one of truth and strength, and today I finally fixed my crown. So, how many of us need to continue working on our crown and shifting our mindset? And I'm so thankful. I'm not keeping up with the time. I don't know what time it is, but one of the things that I wanted to do is kind of go back to where it began for me. Let Love Live. The title, Let Love Live, in the series, it came from, I wrote a poem for a friend in high school, and she she and her boyfriend were having problems and they decided to get back together. I don't know where they are now. Good luck to them, but that's how this point came about, and I decided to name the book Let Love Live, and now it's a series. And so I'll share a few lines from the poem Let Love Live. The times we shared together were the best dreams of tomorrow. I never thought of love so sweet within and such a sorrow. We were good for each other through the ups and downs you and I shared, making me laugh, holding me tight, anything to show you cared. I loved you and I thought you loved me. Why was I loved, then set free? Now this is in high school, but I think it's done me forever. Your kiss and your smile, I sit alone and I dream a while. I dream of you, I dream of me, hoping and wishing for things to be like they used to be. And so, I won't go through the whole thing, but this is how the first volume, Let Love Live. And a lot of these poems I wrote for other people. I've been writing poetry since the 3rd grade, and I found that I had a gift where I could literally feel the emotions of others. And I found myself being able to help them express in words that they could not find for themselves. And so I would write poems for other people, and there were a lot of crushes. I was a shy girl. So a few of these crushes, it was me. And so I can remember this one. I was in college, and there was this person that I had such a crush on, but I didn't have the courage to speak up. And so I wrote this poem. Here I sit, listening to the old jams and humming to the beat. Then he walks in, and I can't keep calm in my seat. He doesn't speak, but I'm happy just to stare. I wait patiently for him to notice me, but he doesn't even know I'm there. He just has to know that I'm crazy for him. Only a blind man could see. But as usual, he doesn't know what he does to me. It's not like he's a monster or a superstar, one that I couldn't get near, but just to speak or smile, I'm filled with fear. As for now, I'll just have to watch from afar until the day I can find the courage to let my heart ajar. Now, what I found in writing this book is that love is ageless and timeless. My demographic is from 12 to 85. I haven't met any 90-year-olds, but we've all had crushes, and we all, have that desire for connection. And so, this book, when I first wrote it, I was really encouraged to write it, but I didn't believe. I didn't see myself as an artist. But there are different facets to each of us. And I was constantly trying to put myself in one category. I thought, okay, I have to be professional. This is nonsense, but I want to use all of my gifts. I don't want to bury my gifts. And I know, again, my purpose is to encourage the hearts of others. And so what I'll do now is that I'm going to stop talking. And I just want to thank you for coming out. And if you'd like to buy a book, I'd like to use the rest of the time to sign a book for you and just spend some time with you. And I even got a cake. The last time I got cupcakes, I was so excited that I loved the cupcakes, and I sent my daughter back to get them. But I found a beautiful cake named Let Love Live. So I would love for us to just spend some time connecting and sharing. And I'd love to talk with each of you. And if you want me to sign a book, I've been practicing. I love it. Shirley C. Taylor. But I just want to thank you for showing up and allowing me to practice telling my story. And I had to learn that there's a place for me just the way God made me. And it took a long time, but I'm glad that, I'm still here and I get a chance to encourage others to be who they are. And so I hope if whatever you're dealing with, whatever your beliefs are, that you lean into that was always the strong one, and so people didn't check on me, and they were surprised. But, you know, I'm so thankful that I learned, and I'm constantly learning. What do I need? And how can I help others? And the first thing I had to do was to be true to self, and to know no matter what I put on, whether I'm rocking a hat tonight or, you know, whatever clothes I'm wearing, is really who I am inside. And I have to start with loving myself. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. And so we can cut some cake, and I'd like to hang out with us for a little bit and sign some books. And thank you so much for coming out. Right, so I'm gonna sign off now. Facebook Live. Thank you.